So why am I sitting here with 7 gallons of vinegar in front of me? Well, stay tuned and I'll talk all about it.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH, country limit. I don't need a guide, follow life.
Smooches. All right, I'll see you guys later.
I'll just breathe in.
You can see the chunks and stuff I'm talking about right here.
Just die any minute.
The vinegar is all pumped into the water heater.
Country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Why Wait. I'm Chris, and today I wanted to talk to you about the process of descaling your water heater, or sanitizing it. Now, this is a different process versus using a water bleach mixture to sanitize your fresh water tank and all your water lines in your RV. And if you want to know more about that, we have a great video on that as well. And I will put a link down to that right up here. I'll also put a link down in the video description down below, and you can go check out our process of how we sanitize a fresh water tank, all the RV water lines or outside hose and all that stuff. But today we're going to talk about how you sanitize your water heater using, well, vinegar. Besides just some regular white distilled vinegar, what are some other items you're going to need to do this project? Well, let me lay it out for you. And this will kind of vary depending on what kind of water heater you have. If you have a Suburban water heater like us, or an Anode, which doesn't require a anode rod, those are really the only two differences. And I'll go ahead and show you some of the things you need right here.
So you're going to need a bucket, preferably a 5-gallon bucket, should do the job. You're going to need obviously the vinegar, a flushing wand, a socket wrench, torque wrench, a 1 1/16 socket for the anode rod, some plumber's tape. This is a 3/4 inch PVC plug, some pliers possibly, and that's for the PVC plug in case you don't have, I believe, a 1 1/18 socket to tighten this back down. And again, if you have a Suburban water heater like we do, you'll need this PVC plug. If you have an Anode water heater, you don't have an anode rod and you won't need one.
Now, if you have a Suburban water heater like we do, I'm going to go ahead and change out the anode rod today as well, because you have to take it out to this process anyways. We like to change our anode rod about once a year, but I'm not going to get into that too much today because we have a whole video we already did about the whole process of the anode rod, its purpose, what it's for, and I'll put a link to that right up here, and you can go watch that, or go check it out after you watch this video if you need any more information about, how to change your anode rod or the process behind that. We will film a little bit of it today just because I do need to take it out to do this. Now, if you have an Anode water heater, you don't have an anode rod and you don't have to worry about that. As far as descaling the water heater, I do this usually every other year, so about every 2 years. And again, the reason we're doing this is just to clean out the water heater, sanitize it, get all the calcium deposits out of there, all the old anode rod bits that fall off, and just clean out your hot water tank so it's nice and sanitized and you have good, clean, hot, fresh water coming out. It's a pretty easy process, pretty simple. Let's go hit it.
The first thing you're going to want to do is shut your water heater off. So whether you're running on electric or gas, you're going to want to shut that off, start to let the water cool down inside of there. Next, best thing to do is to turn on your faucets and start emptying all the hot water out of the water heater. And again, the reason we're doing this is that when we take the anode rod out and all the water comes out of the water heater, it's not burning hot and you just don't burn yourself.
Okay, next step, we're over here at the water heater. So we've already shut the water heater off, lit what's inside here to start to cool down. In fact, and then we emptied it all out. As you saw, we ran it through our faucets, got all the hot water ran out of it, and allowed it to fill back up with cold water. Now you may be thinking, why didn't you just shut the city water connection off so that it didn't fill back up, so you don't have to worry about even water running out of here when we remove the anode rod? Well, basically, you want it to fill back up with water. You just want that water to be cold, because when I remove the anode rod, all that water is going to come flushing out. You want it to be cold so you don't burn yourself, but you do want that rush of water because that's what's going to remove a lot of the deposits and calcium deposits and all that stuff in there. It's going to get that big flow to get it out. And then we're going to take the flushing wand and go in there and try to flush more out. And you'll see what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and take this panel off here and pop out the anode rod. And what we're going to go ahead and do now is we are going to go ahead and shut the city water off. Okay, because when you have water come into your water system, the first place it always goes is your water heater. So we're gonna go ahead and relieve some pressure. Release that pressure a little bit. Now we're gonna get our socket wrench and we're gonna remove the anode rod right here. And you are gonna wanna stand back because once this is loose, it's gonna come flowing. Okay, as you can see, all the water's done flowing out of there. All kind of bits and chunks of stuff came out. Here's the old anode rod. It definitely did its job. Again, I don't want to get into this too much. We have a whole nother video about that. Most of you guys know about anode rods anyways. And if you don't, go check out that video. But it definitely did its job. And again, the quality of these, or I guess the condition of them when they come out, is going to depend on how much water you use, the size of your family, the hardness of the water, and stuff like that. I know when we were in Idaho recently, we had extremely hard water, and we even run a portable on-the-go water softener, and we were still having trouble with the extreme hard water out there. So anyways, the next step is I have my flushing wand here, and we're gonna go ahead and flush that out the best we can, get it in there, agitate it, try to get some water to flow out before we move on to the next step of closing it up and pumping the vinegar into there.
You just want to do the best that you can with this flushing wand to get all the calcium deposits and stuff that's built up inside here and just flush it out the best that you can.
We got that pretty much flushed out the best we can get it for now. So the next thing is we're going to close it back up, and we're going to use this 3/4 inch PVC plug right here. Now we're going to use this instead of just sticking the new anode rod back in there with the vinegar, because from what I understand, acetic acid from the vinegar and the magnesium, well, I guess they don't gel too well together. And just as a precaution, instead of doing that, we're going to use this PVC 3/4 inch PVC plug. And I'll have Amazon links down below in the video description to anything you see today if you want to do this project and get one of these. And we're just going to screw this in, and we're going to start to pump our vinegar into the water heater. Now, I did take some plumber's tape here, and I just wrapped the plumber's tape around this piece to prevent any leaks from coming out. Put this in here. If you do use this 3/4 inch plug right here, it requires a 1 1/18 inch socket, which I do not have, but I can just tighten it pretty good with hand, and I'm just gonna take some channel locks and just tighten that down a turn, half turn or so. And as always, if you guys are enjoying the video today, we appreciate it if you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, lots of videos like this, maintenance how-tos, things like that. And ring that notification bell so you get notified every time we have new videos coming out. We appreciate it. Okay, let's go ahead and put our vinegar into our 5-gallon bucket, and let's start pumping that into our water heater. So we're gonna come over to our Nautilus panel here, and we're gonna put it in winterized mode because that's going to siphon to fixtures via pump, and the first place it's going to go is actually the water heater, only because we're going to leave the water heater on. We're not gonna bypass the water heater. Normally you would want to turn this if you're winterizing. You don't want to winterize your water heater, so we want to go ahead and check, make sure that's down, left, right, the green is up, and now normally the red you'd want to turn to this side, but we're going to leave it up so we don't bypass the water heater, so that this is going to pump directly into the water heater first. Make sure you have just a nice little short piece of hose, a short piece of hose section. Get it down into the vinegar. I usually try to raise my bucket a little bit as high as I can to make the siphoning process easier. Sometimes you have to prime this hose. Let's turn on our pump and see. Okay, it looks like it's pumping. I don't see anything leaking over here, so we're good. The vinegar is all pumped into the water heater. Now, with the remaining 6 gallons of empty space in there, we're gonna switch back over to city water, turn the water on. It's going to start going straight into the water heater. And with the pressure relief valve up there, once it starts to spit out of there, we know the tank is full. We'll close that, and we're gonna turn the water heater on and actually let that sit for about 5 to 6 hours. So while we're waiting for this to fill up the rest of the way with water, this is something a lot of times I would normally do maybe overnight, just for the ease of it and the convenience of it, because you're not gonna need to use any hot water while you're sleeping. So a lot of times I would do this late evening, take our showers, do your dishes, whatever you're done. Then I'd start this process, let it sit overnight, and then finish up in the morning. But for the filming aspect of it, that involves me getting up early in the morning to finish the job, and a lot of times I end up doing it at nighttime. It's dark and I can't film. So right now I'm doing it in the middle of the day, and You only need to let it go maybe 5-6 hours, especially since we're gonna turn the water heater back on and heat the vinegar up for those few hours. That really speeds up the process. And then we're just gonna go back and repeat the steps of shutting the water heater off, letting it cool down, running the vinegar through the faucets to get it all empty, let it fill back up with city water, cold water, open it up again, let it all flush out, flush it good, and then we'll close it up with the new anode rod installed. Okay, it looks like it's getting close. You can see the water starting to come out, so the tank is almost full. And we're just gonna go ahead and close that up now. We're just gonna leave our city water on. But one thing we're gonna do now, just so we don't make any mistakes while I'm home, and if I accidentally go to wash my hands, if I was to turn the hot water on inside right now, vinegar is gonna come out. So now this is a point, while I am set to city fixtures, now I'm gonna take my hot water bypass and I'm gonna turn it to the left, then bypass the water heater. This way, if I go inside and go to use any hot water, nothing's going to come out of here, and I don't have to worry about washing my hands with vinegar accidentally over the next few hours. Okay guys, it's been just about 5 hours now and I'm starting to lose some sunlight here, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this done. I'm gonna shut the water heater off and we're gonna reverse the process. So I'm just gonna go over here and shut that off. I already shut it off inside too. And I'm gonna go over to my Nautilus panel and we're gonna go ahead and switch this back up. That way we're not bypassing the water heater anymore. So now I can go inside and turn my faucets on, hot water, and flow all that vinegar, water mixture down into my tanks and out the sewage instead of just dumping it all onto the ground. So I flushed most of the vinegar mixture out through the faucets inside. And I'm gonna come down here, make sure you always shut your city connection water off first. Otherwise, well, when you go to empty this, it's just gonna keep adding more water to it. So we're gonna shut the water off. We're gonna release the pressure again, and then we're gonna take this little plug out, flush it all out, get the wand, clean it up the best we can, put the anode rod back in, and call it a day. Kind of see that? You can see the chunks and stuff I'm talking about right here. Just by agitating this, we're definitely getting a lot more stuff coming out. And that's what you want. Now while this is draining out, here's the new anode rod, what they should look like. Now this is an actual Suburban brand anode rod, and already comes with the plumber's tape on here and everything. And this is a magnesium rod, and from what I understand, the magnesium rods work better with soft water. And I read somewhere that if your anode rod doesn't last a year, it's not doing its job as well as it should, that maybe you need to switch from a magnesium rod to an aluminum rod. Maybe the water's too hard. That's just a little tip in case you're having an issue with yours just burning up too quick or something. So, but we've always used these magnesium rods. I'll put a link to it down below, and it's been good. It's a little bit more expensive for the actual Suburban brand anode rod. This is maybe about $18, I believe. But, you know, it's doing its job. It's protecting the water heater, so small price to pay. It's just about empty, so we're gonna hit it up with the flushing wand, get in there, flush it around, move it around. The more you agitate it, the more you can move stuff around, the more you can pull stuff out with the water. The problem is there's that little lip right there, and everything kind of sits about an inch below this actual opening for the anode rod. So just do your best to get everything out that you can. Got out everything I could. I feel pretty good about that. I'm gonna put the anode rod in now. Thread it in carefully, try not to cross thread it. It can be a little difficult because as you try to put it in there, the weight of this end, you know, wants to hold it down and you can't hold it up. So get a good feel for it, thread it up nice and tight. After that, turn your water back on, turn your water heater on. That's it. You can hear it, it's almost done. Oh, see the water starting to come out, so we know it's finished up. I'm gonna go and close that. Then I guess we're gonna dry that area up again. We'll go inside, we'll purge the rest of the air, close this up, and we're ready for hot showers with some clean hot water. And as always, guys, we appreciate you checking out our channel, watching our videos. We love the support. And remember, get out there, start your full-time RV life because, well, why wait? We'll see you next time.